Welcome back to the channel and to this 2,250 point game of Dark Eldar versus Guard. This is the planet. The Guard have left a signal flashing, baiting the Dark Eldar in. There's been a series of raids across the planet and the Guard are looking to strike back and hopefully do some serious damage to the raiding party that has been back and forth. So in the firebase here, the Dark Eldar are coming for it, but little do they know there is nobody about at all. They've already established a webway over this side and are looking to raid across the table straight into the Imperial firebase, grabbing some vital information and taking some flesh back for the homunculus to play with. So the Dark Eldar are going to be striking out of the webway across into the firebase. It's the middle of the night, but they don't realise that nobody is about at all. We're playing a bit of a different mission today. The mission is out of the Homunculus Coven's book and it is called Thier the Reaper. And what happens is, as the Dark Eldar defeat enemy units, an objective marker is placed where the last model is removed. And at the end of the game, whoever controls the most objective markers scores the most victory points. So, this is the desolate world. Let's have a look at the armies. So here is the Dark Eldar raiding party today. Urian Rakarth is getting the information and he wants some new flesh to play with to make some more grotesques. So to start with, we have two formations from the Coven's book. We have the Dark Artisan unit, obviously the channel's namesake. We have the Kronos Pain Engine with the Spirit Probe. The Homunculus has a Liquefier and an Agonizer. Meanwhile, the Talos has a Chain Flail, Twin Link Liquefier Gun and Twin Linked Splinter Cannon as well. The other formation is the Grotesquerie with Urian Rakarth. We of course have two units of 3 Grotesques and Urian Rakarth. Urian will be joining one group of the 3 and they're both riding in 2 raiders with Knight Shields. And that makes up the formations. HQ, my Succubus has been rekitted to run as a Lamian. Yeah, couldn't really think of anything else to put in. Troops choice, we have 2 units of 10 warriors, both in raiders, filled with splinter cannons. The raiders have splinter axe and Knight Shields. We've then got a unit of 6 Reaver jet bikes. 2 of them have cluster caltrops, and the guy here with the blue hair with the skulls is the arena champion. He has one of the sets of cluster caltrops and he is the warlord today. I didn't think the Urian or the Homunculus one would be too useful against the Guard. So he's the warlord and he has towering arrogance. He's a laughing Reaver jet bike champion flying around cackling orders at the rest of the force. For the other fast attack choices, we have a unit of 10 beasts, Chimera with the Beastmaster with an Agonizer. We also have a unit of 5 Scourge with 4 Haywire Blasters. Right, and heavy support, we have the Forge World Reaper, and that's been upgraded with Knight Shields. We've got a Ravager with triple Dark Lance and of course Knight Shields. We also have the Void Raven Bomber, no upgrades at all on that. And then we have the Razor Wing Jet Fighter as well. Going to run it with Dark Lancers today, and it's got 4 of the Strength 6 missiles, Knight Shields and the Splinter Cannon, so he's quite kitted out today. And that is the 2250 raiding party of Dark Eldar. Let's have a look at Ali's Guard force.
Right, so here's my 2250 Imperial Guard force. Run the combined arms attachment from the Codex. I've got a company command squad with a Vox caster and a las cannon. My warlord's got the warlord trait, where all friendly units within 12 inches don't take morale checks, having 25% more casualties. It's going to come in really good with the Thier cause and Dark Eldar. I've got a veteran squad here as a troops choice. We've got 2 melter guns, a demo charge, and there's a priest attached to the unit. My second troops choice, I've got an infantry platoon. Command section's got the Vox, 2 flamers. I've got 3 squads with a Vox and a flamer, and there's a commissar attached to that unit. I've got 2 squads with a Vox and an autocannon, and I've got a missile heavy weapon team as part of that as well. I've got 3 Bulgarins with Power Maul and Brute Shield, and there's a priest attached to them. In my fast attack, I've got a hellhound, and that's got a dozer blade. I've got a Leman Russ Eradicator, your dozer blade, and 3 heavy flamers. I've got a Leman Russ Exterminator with sponson heavy bolters and a Hull las cannon. At the back here I've got Vendetta, so that should be quite useful. But I've also taken one of the new formations from the Montcar book, the Emperor's Wrath Artillery Company. So I've got my command squad down here with their Chimera. They've got a Master of Ordnance attached to them. I've got 2 Hydras, both with camo netting. I've got a Basilisk with camo netting. I've got a Manticore. And there's the Tech Priest. He's got 4 Servitors attached to him. And that's my 2250 Imperial Guard force. The Emperor's Wrath Artillery Company. It's a new formation from Montcar. And what it does, it means the command section can issue orders to the vehicles. So the Hydras and the Basilisk and the Manticore can get 3 orders of ignores cover, pinning and split fire.
Fantastic.
Yeah! So that'll be really, really useful against the Dark Eldar with all that jink. What it also gets as well is target sighted, so a friendly unit within 18 inches of an enemy unit can radio in some Vox coordinates, and any unit in this formation that targets it gets twin linked. So I'm looking at these 2 to cause some damage there.
Right, so here we go. The Dark Eldar have arrived at the Imperial Firebase and they've discovered that nobody is about, and they're wondering what on earth is going on. There is disarray among the lines. We've got the Reaper and the cackling arena champion on the jet bike at this side, grotesques in one raider, Urian and his grotesques in this one. Down here we've got the Ravager and the 2 units of Cabalite warriors that were leading the charge span round, as have the Scourge and the Beasts, and they've discovered that their exit route has been cut off back to the webway. They heard the thunder and roll of the Guards' tanks coming in behind them, and the trap has been sprung. The Guards and the tanks are looking to blast apart their own base and take apart this Dark Eldar raiding party. So in typical Dark Eldar style, it is of course night time, but using the night vision they have seen the Guard rolling in. So on this side we've got the Hellhound heavy weapons team. There's a unit of guardsmen hiding out in the bushes, the Ogrins and all the tanks holding the back line, looking to lay some fire down as the Eldar come back towards the webway. We've got the veterans and the guardsmen holding this flank. Looking across at the firebase, we can see the Dark Eldar have already spun round, looking to meet the attack. Dark Eldar are going first unless Ali seizes. Do you want to seize Ali?
Yep.
Oh, so close. So, Dark Eldar, turn 1. The Dark Eldar have heard and seen the Guard coming in behind them. They swang round and everything is rushing straight back to the webway to try and smash through. So up here we've got the Ravager, the Reavers. I'm just holding them in the centre for the moment. I don't want them to get too far ahead. I'm going to use that 12-inch fearless bubble to my advantage. I've also got the Warriors and the Scourge at this side. The Reaper has pulled this way, so hopefully the plan is the Reaper, the Ravager and the Scourge from this side will hopefully be able to get some nice damage in on the big nasty tanks here. The Grotesques have flat outed up here. The Raider's going to get blown up, so I might as well get the Grotesques where they need to be and hopefully charge that massive squad of guardsmen and keep them busy. Urian is staying in the centre as well, again trying to keep that strong centre with the 12-inch fearless bubble, as well as the +1 power from pain table from Urian as well. So I think we're going to run the beasts forward and then we've got a little bit of shooting to do as well. Right, so the Dark Eldar, we are absolutely furious that we've been tricked, so we're determined to get straight into the guard lines and stop them in the track. So both of the raiders with the warriors in, we flat outed and moved forward. The Scourge saw the Hellhound here, and that torrent template was going to be nasty and devastating against the raiders here. So the Scourge shot first. We managed to get two glances and a pen, and the pen actually blew the Inferno cannon off the top, so it's on one hull point with a heavy bolter. So because I managed to do the damage there, I then elected to shoot the Dark Lancers from the Ravager down at the Leman Russ here, and despite getting 2 hits, rolled a double 1, so never mind. Meanwhile, the Reaper levelled his Vortex cannon, large blast, hoping to clip both of the tanks here to start eating away at the hull points. We scattered sideways, killed 5 of the guards with the blast, and managed to put a glance on the Leman Russ. I contemplated charging the Warlord and his Reavers up into the centre here, as Ali would have to deal with them. Unfortunately, there's 2 flamers in that unit there. So yeah, that is not happening. The rest of the plan is basically get the beasts up and get the grotesques as fast as we can into the lines, and at least stop the guardsmen from putting that amount of firepower into the infantry, and hopefully some of the grotesques, the reavers, and maybe even the beasts can start eating away at the rear armour of the tanks. So that is it for turn 1. It's still night time. The guardsmen are going to be using the searchlights, hopefully light the path up for the swarm of Dark Eldar heading towards them. In anticipation, they are standing strong, waiting. Right, so Ali's movement has been uneventful, but he's decided he's going to cast fire on my target on, I want to say, Hydras. And he's going to be shooting at this skimmer. So his orders, he only failed on a double 6, which he passed. And yeah, Skyfire means he can fire full ballistic skill against skimmers. So he needs to hit. 4's to hit, is it? Twin linked?
Yeah, 4's to hit, so twin linked.
Oh, that's not good.
6 hits.
What strength is it?
Strength 7.
3's to glance. Yeah, boom. Open topped as well, so that's probably going to explode. 6's.
Lost one, that.
No, it's gone anyway, so yeah. Right, so Ali, being the cheesy man that he is, has issued an order onto the Manticore. He's issued fire on my target for ignore cover. He's passed the leadership check, and he's going to go for Urian's transport. So do you want to see if you hit Ali?
Yep, let's go.
Oh, never. Direct hit. But it's D3 barrage, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's D3 missiles. That's 3 missiles.
Ouch.
So the first missile's there.
This is a Punisher.
Second missile.
And 2 bolters.
Have you got your the template?
We'll work this out and we'll come back. Right, so we've turned round, looking to get back towards the webway, and we've been met by an absolute gun line of guardsmen and tanks. This raider was blown up by the Wyvern, Hydras. This one has been blown up by the Manticore. I'll remember the guard names eventually. Obviously Urian is getting out. One of the grots took a wound to the explosion. The Manticore, however, managed to kill, what was it, 7 of the beasts? So, yeah, that was brutal. However, we are fearless. The cackling arena champion on his jet bike is flying around the back, ordering everybody forward. This raider here took fire from the guardsmen here with the missiles, again ignoring cover. The guys down here, the commissar ordered them to ignore the cover of the grotesques here, and unfortunately Ali didn't get any wounds in on them. These guys aren't pinned, as Urian is within 12, so he classes that as being turn 2 for them. So that's literally just the orders that we've done. Long shooting phase for the guard. We need to stand and we need to get into the fray and hit hard next turn. Hopefully our reserves will arrive. Let's move on to the rest of the shooting. It's going to be devastating, I think. Right, so the only thing that Ali actually did do in the movement phase, just jumping back to it, was try to ram the raider here. And unfortunately he didn't do any damage, and unfortunate for me, didn't immobilise himself coming through the terrain here. The rest of the ship, meanwhile, has been devastating. Lost a grotesque and took wounds here due to the autocannons and the las guns, and both of the Leman Russ managed to inflict wounds on the grotesques. As you can see, these two are down to 2 wounds. The one here, despite all the heavy flamers and everything coming in, and the large blast template, unfortunately Ali only managed to get 1 wound through, managed to pass quite a lot of me feel no pains. From this side, meanwhile, the auto cannon and the las cannon just down here managed to fire through at the raider here, causing it to jink. One of them ignoring cover. The las cannon managed to blow the weapon off as well. The other thing that happened is the heavy bolter from the Hellhound here managed to stun this raider as well, so unfortunately he's not moving next turn. That's bad, as I'm just outside of rapid fire range. So that's it for guard. The Dark Eldar have taken a massive blow. The raiders have been blown apart as they met the gun line, as they try to assault back and meet the intercepting guard forces. Right, so fantastically on turn 2 our reserves have arrived. The Razor Wing is looking to rain some pain down with the missiles onto the guardsman squads here. Hopefully we can get a few objectives set up and start to take them. The Void Raven has got his lancers aimed directly at the Leman Russ, and the Homunculus Dark Artisan formation is webwayed in straight literally out of the webway, and he's going to look to hopefully bring down the Commissar here and at least eat away at this big unit of guardsmen. So that's the reserves. Let's have a look at our movement. Hopefully we can start to hit back quite hard. Right, so the plan is to get right in the guard's face and start doing some damage, prevent them from shooting. Like I said, the Dark Artisan is going to be looking to take out the Commissar and this large squadron of guard. The Grotesques have pulled forward through the cover, looking hopefully to either assault the remains of the guardsmen or potentially charge and wreck the rear armour of the Leman Russ. The Grotesques at this side have also pulled forward, again to help support them, and the Beasts, the 3 remaining, the Beastmaster is herding them, again to try and support taking those down. Scourge have also jumped forward. They've seen Urian get out of his wrecked raider and stand up totally unscathed, and they're going to look to lay some fire support down over the top of him and hopefully get rid of those tanks that he's charging towards. Meanwhile, the Reaver jet bike's still circling at the rear, waiting for their opportune moment to strike. The warriors in this raider, again, looking hopefully to try and take more of the warriors down as well. Right, so the Razor Wing has come screeching in and he's unloaded his missiles on these guys down here. The unit at this side has 14 hits, is it?
Yeah, the veterans got 14.
Veterans have 14 hits on them. I did scatter slightly, so I've actually managed to get 10 wounds on these guys. And I managed to also inflict 3 on them, so we haven't actually rolled to wound as of yet, but with so many hits I think it's going to be quite brutal. And as you can see, the large blob squad of guard that was here, the Dark Artisan unit with their 3 templates and the splinter cannons from the Talos, actually managed to take most of them out, and they're going to need a morale check, and they're going to be at -1 as well due to the freakish spectacle rules. So that's only 2 units that have shot, so hopefully most of these guard will be gone. let's work out the wounds and we'll come back and do the rest of the shooting. Wow, what a turn of shooting for the Dark Eldar. Yeah, look at it. That's how many models Ali's had to put away. So these guys here took an absolute crap ton of wounds from the missiles. They also took fire from the Raider here as well. They are going to need a morale check. We'll do all the morale checks after we've recapped the shooting. We also managed to kill 3 from the command squad. We managed to wipe out the entire squad here and place our first objective. The guys here took even more fire from the Reaver jet bikes. We managed to get a single wound in as we had to jink last turn. Void Raven came screeching in and supported by the Reaper. The Void Raven managed to do a single glance on the side armour of the Leman Russ here. Meanwhile, the Reaper managed to shoot through here. I was aiming for, what's that thing?
Hydra.
The Hydra, with the large blast Templar, hoping to do some damage to the Chimera as well. Unfortunately, it did scatter. We managed to wound the Bullgrin that was at the front, but Ali passed his 5-bin run. I rolled a 1 on the haywire table for the Chimera and only killed a single guardsman that was in the woods there. So that wasn't too good at all. Coming across here, the Scourge was supposed to take out this tank, but between 4 of them, only got a single hit. So yeah, that is still alive. I thought by now I'd hopefully getting rid of the tanks, but never mind. Meanwhile, the guys from inside of the Raider managed to take down a single missile launcher, despite getting loads and loads of hits. Me rolls to wound were absolutely abysmal. So these are going to need a morale check as well. There's devastation in the lines of the guard. All the men have been cut down, but the tanks pretty much unscathed. So we've got a lot of morale checks to do. We've got a lot of leadership modifiers. Can we make the guard run away? We'll have to see. Right, so as it turns out, despite monstrous creatures appearing in the back lines and behind the guardsmen on the left flank and the ones in the centre are actually more terrified of the company commander. So yeah, they don't take a morale check because they're within 12 inches of him. So yeah, that's terrifying for the guardsmen, I guess. Meanwhile, the assaults, the grotesques have multi-charged the Leman Russ. Hopefully we can take that out, and one of them is going to be charging the guardsmen there as well. So we've multi-charged into that. The beasts have clambered over the wreckage, looking to help support the grotesques and take that out. Meanwhile, Urian and the other 2 grotesques are hopefully going to take this one out. So hopefully the Dark Eldar advance will start to push the guard back away from the webway, and hopefully they can make it out without too many more casualties. There has been absolute devastation in the lines of the guardsmen. The grotesques jumped forward and absolutely pounded hell out of the armour of the Leman Russ. The beasts clawing and pulling at all of the wires, and as you can see, we managed to bring down both of the Leman Russ. Meanwhile, down here, one grotesque managed to smash 3 guardsmen into the ground. He failed his fear check, failed his morale check, the one guy that was left, and unfortunately this grotesque on the side managed to actually bring him down as he was running away. So that is another objective marker, plus another 2 objective markers for the 2 tanks here. There's 4 on the board. Hopefully we can wreck a bit more face and capture the objectives before the game ends. Let's move on to guard, turn 2. Right, so guard, turn 2. The guard and the Ogrins are moving forward. There is absolute carnage. Screaming grotesques moving forward, howling reavers. There's explosions left, right and centre. The Ogrins have come out possibly to either meet the Dark Artisan or possibly to take on the grotesques. Everything is veering back round to start dealing with the threat that is in the deployment zone of the guards. The trap that they sprang isn't quite going to plan, so it seems. We'll have to see how the guard retaliate. Hopefully we don't take as many casualties as we did previously. Right, so welcome back. We've done the orders part of the shooting phase for Ali. The Manticore and the Basilisk, we use an ignores cover and manage to wreck most of the bikers here. Unfortunately, the Manticore, Ali rolled about 3 or 4 ones and then rolled a single one with the Basilisk as well, which meant only one wound was dealt out. The Warlord was the closest one, but I managed to look out, sir, and kill off the other biker as well. Meanwhile, this raider here has taken a glancing hit from the last cannon team. The raider here has taken a glancing hit from the last cannon team here, using Ignore's cover. He also used Bring It Down on the Dark Artisan formation here, and despite re-rolling the wound with these guys with the flamers and the bolt gun, unfortunately didn't get any wounds. The only other order that he tried to issue was Ignore cover over here. Unfortunately, he failed his leadership check. So that was it for orders. We'll now move on to the actual normal shooting phase. Right, so the rest of the shooting phase, Ali elected to use the Master of Ordnance, and he scattered 4 inches. He was trying to hit him straight on top of the Warlord here. He did scatter slightly and actually managed to pen the raider that was there and glance the Reaper. So at least the Reaper hasn't gone down as of yet. The explosion killed 3 of the warriors inside. They're not pinned though, due to the fearless bubble from him. I normally run the Reavers straight up the front of the table, being quite aggressive, but I decided to keep him back with him being the Warlord and having that fearless bubble. I wanted to make sure that the warriors have basically a full turn of shooting and not get pinned or anything. Down here we took fire from the guardsmen over there, and despite getting several wounds in, I managed to pass all my saves with Urian. I did lose 2 of the Scourge to the missiles from the missile team, and the heavy bolter from fire came in from the guardsmen at this side. The missile team managed to kill 2 of the Scourge, and they fell back, but they're now within 12 inches of the Reaver, so they're going to be fearless next turn, which is great. Meanwhile, the heavy bolter managed to get 2 hits on the raider here, but I managed to pass my jinx save. Again, the ram didn't do any damage at all. The Void Raven down here took fire from the Hydras. Thankfully, the Night Shields held out and we only suffered a single glance, despite Ali getting about 3 pens. The Master of Ordnance actually immobilised the Reaper, but at least he still got a good firing out across the board. The Guardsman here shot into the Grotesques, and despite the flamers and everything, unfortunately didn't get any wounds. So, it's not looking so good for the Guard. They've still got a lot of armour left, but there's monsters charging around in the deployment zone. Can we bring them down in the assault phase? Are the Guardsmen brave enough to charge? We'll have to see. Right, so the assault phase was very quick indeed. The Guardsmen charged in at the Dark Artisan and was met by a wall of liquefied molten magma as the all 3 of them lay the templates down, and only one of them managed to survive and make it in. The Bullgrins then charged in as well, and the Talos managed to inflict a single wound on a Bullgrin. Unfortunately, the Homunculus failed to wound. The Kronos also failed to wound. The Bullgrins, meanwhile, smashed back with the power mauls, managed to get a single wound through on the Kronos, so the Kronos is now concussed. Yeah, the priest tried to sing the Emperor's Strength so that Ali could get smash. Unfortunately, he didn't get it off, so that meant that the priest wasn't able to do any damage either. At the end of Guard turn 2, he's trying to get rid of as many of the monsters in the deployment zone as possible, and hopefully he can start and pick up some of these objectives. Right, welcome back. Dark Eldar turn 3. The Void Raven pilot has sighted a Vendetta on the horizon, and he's made a beeline to come and sweep back round. So he's flew off the board over this way. We need to work out the bomb. He's going to look to drop it on the engine seer guy down there and hopefully take out 1 or 2 of the tanks with it as well. The rest of the movement phase, the Grotesques are pulled forward, looking to hopefully support in taking the Bullgrins down. Multi-charge in with the Guard squad there for the beasts to then go in and hopefully claw the way through their armour. The Reaver still circling around, still laughing at the misfortune of the Guard's plans and trap going wrong. The Scourge are pulled sideways here. Hopefully we can take out the Hellhound at this side, and the Grotesques, Urian, and the last squad of warriors moving, hopefully to take on the weapons team and the guard unit this side. The Ravager repositioned himself. Unfortunately, he wouldn't be able to get line of sight or leave himself in the open, so he's repositioned himself in cover for the moment to move out next turn and start getting some shots in. Meanwhile, the Razor Wing will hopefully be able to pepper the engine seer that we can see down there. So hopefully we can strike back hard before we start to run out of units. There's still a lot of armor on the table. We don't have too much left that can deal with it. Oh my, what a bombing run indeed. So the bomb got a direct hit on the engine seer's unit, managed to kill 3 servitors and blow up the Manticore. In turn, the Manticore actually exploded and killed the engine seer and the other servitor. So that's instantly 3 objective markers right in that back corner. I even managed to glance the Hydra as well. Seems the look of my Void Raven may be changing. It never seems to do what it's supposed to be doing. So yeah, that's the end of movement. Let's move on to the shooting and hopefully we can take down some other things. Right, so the sun is high in the sky now as the battle rages on, and we really need to strike some fear in the hearts of these guardsmen. The Scourge that were just retreating a little bit, shot over here looking to take out the Chimera, got 2 hits, and I rolled that. Fantastic, eh? The Raider here managed to bring down the heavy weapons team. All of the warriors inside unloaded the splinter rifles into them and finally brought them down. These guys took fire from the casket of flensing that Urian unsheathed, and unfortunately he only actually killed 1 of them. Meanwhile, over this side, the warriors here managed to shoot and kill 2 more of the guardsmen hanging out at the back there on that objective. The Reaper, in the meantime, managed to get a direct hit with a large blast template, got a single glance on each of the Chimera and the Hydra. Ali passed both of his cover saves, 4 due to the intervening models and camo netting. However, the amazingest thing ever, the Dark Lancers from the Razor Wing blew up the Hydra here as well. So that is another objective marker. There's 4 right here at this side that we need to get a move on to get to. Right, so in the assault phase down here, Urian and the 2 Grotesque have charged in and absolutely minced apart the guard squad and overran them. So that is another objective down on the table, as well as the one from the heavy weapons team. There's 2 more down here. That makes 6 just along the back line alone. I don't even think I've got enough units to hold the objectives. So yeah, we've got a few other combats to work out. We've got this nice lovely mess in the middle. We've got a multi-charge from the Grotesques into the guard squad and the Ogrins, and then we've got the Chimera charge in the guard squad as well. Let's see if we can kill some stuff. What a combat phase indeed. The Grotesque at the front took 2 wounds to Overwatch from all the guardsmen, and the Beasts charged in. The Beastmaster challenged the Sergeant, unfortunately didn't cut him down. Meanwhile, what we had was the Beasts absolutely mauled 8 of the guardsmen, and Ali needed a double 1 to rally, and unfortunately the Beasts ran him over, so that has placed the Elvish objective marker there. Meanwhile, between the Talos, the Kronos, the Homunculus and 2 of the Grotesques attacking the Bullgrins, we only managed to inflict 3 wounds altogether. So these 2 front ones in base contact with the Kronos and Talos are on 1 wound apiece, and no wounds were dealt back to us. This guy here managed to get a single wound back due to it will not die, as we are treating this as turn 4. Could the guardsman's luck be changing? The Hellhound has smashed into the side of the Raider, blown it up, and managed to kill 2 of the warriors inside, and unfortunately they're now pinned. They'll get back up next turn due to Urian being there, but still, critical strike on this flank. The Vendetta has also turned up, looking to blow up the little anti-tank that is left for the Dark Eldar. Right, so the orders part of the shooting phase, Ali issued fire on my target with this Hydra, looking to hopefully cut down the Razor Wing, and unfortunately, despite him actually getting 2 hits, failed to even glance it. He also issued fire on my target on the Basilisk in the hopes of taking out the Laughing Reaver Warlord. He was twin linked due to the Vox being down here as well, and unfortunately both times he actually scattered wildly off. As a result, the las gun from that unit also shot in, and despite getting a hit on the Reaver, failed to do any damage at all. So we'll move on to the normal shooting and see if Ali can get rid, possibly the Reaper. Never know, maybe something else. Right, so it looks as though the Guardsman's courage is about to waver. The heavy bolter from the Hellhound shot into the Warriors and didn't even kill anything. Managed to pass out Feel No Pains. Down here, the Chimera managed to bring down a single beast. The Vendetta's las cannons took aim at the Reaper. I elected not to jink, and Ali only got a single hit and then failed a pen. He rolled a 1. So the Reaper is going to get one more shot before it gets blown up. The only other thing was the last cannon from the weapons team here decided to try and snipe out the Reaver Jetbite Warlord, and he managed to jink it out of the way. So that was it for the shooting phase. We've got this nice mess of a combat to work out down here. What a combat phase. Down here, the Grotesques, the Talos and Kronos, and the Ogrins were beating and pounding on each other. Unfortunately, a lot of armor saves were filled by the Bulgrins, and they're being ran down by the Grotesques. The single Guardsman failed his leadership test as well, and was ran down by the Talos and the Homunculus. So they're making a beeline back this way to go for the company commander. The Grotesques meanwhile are coming this way, hopefully take out the Hydra, while the beasts hopefully take out the Chimera. We've got Yuri on this side as well. Hopefully he'll be able to sweep along and assist with taking these out as well. Right, so looking across the board, it looks as though the Dark Eldar are doing a lot of damage. Hopefully we can clean up and stop the Guard from interfering, and we can get back through the webway. The Void Raven has come on. He saw that Vendetta last turn, and he's coming in to get a line of shot on it. The Reaper, still immobilized, is looking to hopefully support the Grotesques. Strip these of a whole point each maybe, and hopefully the Grotesques will be able to take one out. The Chimera can hopefully take the other one out. The Dark Artisan formation can either go after the commander or the Basilisk. I'm thinking maybe the Basilisk. Meanwhile, the Reaver and the Warriors at this side are hopefully going to be able to take out these over here as well. So it's a very thoughtful plan. It's a very cunning plan. Hopefully we'll be able to do enough damage and get rid of every last piece of guard that is on the table. The Razorwing just looking to get rid of that Chimera at last. Right, so plan not quite accomplished. As you can see, the Vendetta is still alive. Ali elected not to jink from the Void Raven, and didn't even get a pen on it. So that wasn't too good. The Warriors here, we try to get rid of the 2 Guardsmen left here, and unfortunately Ali managed to pass all of his saves. He went to ground with them. The Warlord Reaver rapid fired into the commander, and unfortunately didn't get any hits. Because he was still alive, I elected to shoot everything from the Talos, the Kronos and the Homunculus, and managed to kill the weapons team, but not do any damage to the commander. He passed his in run. So they're going to be charging him and hopefully getting rid of him. The Scourge that we've pulled forward, the mission was to get rid of the Basilisk. Yeah, didn't happen. Ali managed to pass some of his cover saves, and it's left on 2 hull points. Down here though, one of them took, both of them took hits, from the Reaper. The large blast actually glanced both of the vehicles, but Ali managed to pass one of his cover saves. So is it the Hydra that's took the wound?
Yeah, the Hydra lost the whole point.
Hydra lost the whole point. And down here, the Razorwing, it didn't jink last turn due to Ali having ignored cover, and I managed to get a single hit and a glance with the Dark Lance, wrecking that Chimera, it's not Chimera, Hellhound down there. The Dark Lancers as well, we even shot through looking to take on the Basilisk. Actually, you can't even see it because of the camo netting hardly. And unfortunately again, Ali passed all of his cover saves. So the only thing left for us to do is to charge these guys and Urian at the Chimera and the Hydra there, and charge the Dark Artisan and the Reaver into these guys down here. Right, so as the sun is setting, the Grotesques have charged in and smashed apart the Chimera and the Hydra. The Dark Artisan, multi-charged, managed to wreck the Basilisk. The Kronos unfortunately didn't kill the Comicide past his in-run on the single wound the Kronos managed to get in. The Warlord Reaver Jetbike managed to smash the two Guardsmen into the ground with a Hammer of Wraths, and it leaves very, very little for the Guard left. So we've literally got the company commander here, and the company commander with his 6 bodyguard over that side left as we go into Guard turn 4. Right, so Guard turn 4. The Commander brothers have escaped combat. The one from this side ducking and diving as the Grotesques clawed and tried to catch him as he saw the Vendetta coming in to hover mode just to pick him up. The Warlord, his older brother, the more experienced brother, has ordered a retreat, and they've ran and dived into the Vendetta, ready to take off. They've abandoned the planet. It's a smoking wreck. There's wreckage everywhere. The firebase totally lost. The Imperial Guard have decided to desert the planet. There's too much carnage. There's been far too many raids. The sun is setting and the Dark Eldar have control. So the planet is now called Desolate Wasteland. The Dark Eldar are going to establish themselves here to start launching a series of much larger scale raids. They've had the fun, they have played and toyed with the Imperial Guard as they fly off. And just as they want to start moving back into the webway and bringing supplies through, they discover that one of the towers of the webway portal is actually damaged. It's going to be risky business using that. Despite the webway being damaged, the Homunculus doesn't care though. He's still going to press ahead, and they want the raids to continue and to go ahead. Maybe we'll find out what happens if they use the webway. Maybe we won't. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the game today. A massive thank you to Ali for bringing his Imperial Guard down. It's been nice to have the firebase on there, even though it wasn't particularly the centre of the strikes. There's been wreckage and carnage throughout. There's been bad dice rolls. There's been good dice rolls. I hope you've enjoyed the game, and please check out the rest of the channel and stay tuned, and maybe we'll see what happens to the Dark Eldar raids from this planet.